So good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two videos, and I'll let you decide whether they work. But the first one, I want you to hear from Gracie and her big plans for the future.
My name is Gracie, I am 6 years old and I live in Sheffield. When I grow up, I want to be the First Lady Prime Minister from the North. My mum says if I want to be Prime Minister, I have to go to university. But I want to go home on the train to see my family. Sometimes I go on the bus to go to the cinema. When I am Prime Minister, I need to go to London, but just for the day because I need to be home for tea. This is all about me.
I think that's really, really important because it is all about Gracie and her generation. And I think that's why I'm doing it, because I won't be around to enjoy the fruits of the work that we're doing. The next video is an animation that we've done to try and bring the strategic transport plan to life, because it's better than me killing you with 400 slides, so hopefully you'll enjoy that.
The Strategic Transport Plan marks the first time the North has spoken with one voice. It's the result of unprecedented collaboration between elected politicians and business leaders, who together have outlined our vision for the future. The vision is of a thriving north of England, where world-class transport enables regional, national and international connectivity and forms the backbone of a strong economy. We want to use transport to deliver inclusive and sustainable economic growth and support an excellent quality of life. For the people of the North, this means more choice over where to live and work, and access to higher quality jobs. And it will ensure residents and visitors have easy access to the great natural, historic, coastal and cultural destinations of the North. For our businesses, it means access to skilled employees and better opportunities to collaborate. And it will mean businesses can trade, grow their supply chains and move goods and services more efficiently. Our plan features innovative strategic development corridors that reflect both the economic links and the ways in which people and businesses want to move across the North. Better connections within these ecosystems will boost the potential for industries and communities to grow and flourish. Our plan also recognises that we must protect and enhance the environment. This includes decarbonising and mitigating the impacts of the transport network. Investment will be concentrated across our major programmes, including Northern Powerhouse Rail, the existing rail network infrastructure and services, and the major road network. Integrated and smart travel will also transform the way passengers travel across the North. And our investment programme identifies the interventions that we believe will address current challenges and support an inclusive, sustainable future. This plan will enable the North to reach its full potential. A plan written by the North, for the North. We are on a journey. By building on our strengths, we have an opportunity to transform the North's economy and leave a lasting legacy for future generations.
Hopefully you're all awake now. So, for those of you who don't know, Transport for the North, we have a board, and that board is made up of the 20 leaders from the elected leaders from across the North who represent the local transport authorities, has the chairs of the 11 LEPs, it also has HS2, Network Rail, Highways England, and the departments on our board. So it's quite a board to service, I can tell you. Where we fit in is that we leave the local intelligence and the knowledge to the local highway authorities, and we are the sort of agile enough to pick up the local information and then reflect that to the department about what the needs are right across the North. And I think that's a really important role that subnational transport bodies can play as we go forward. One of the problems that we have is that we have transport in our name. So it puts us in a box. Because it's not a transport plan, it's a regeneration plan. And you can see here that actually only one of the objectives in the transport plan is to do with transport. And I think that's really, really important, and I'll come on to that a little bit further as we go on. But having 5 national parks and having those kind of massive visitor numbers is really important about how we grow the economy in the north. In the video, we talked about smart and integrated travel. For those in the southeast, you probably take it for granted, the tap-on, tap-off process. But it will transform the way the north uses its public transport. The fact that we can give a fair price promise. The fact that we'll be able to say to young, unemployed people that you'll have free travel for a period of time to make sure that you can get back into travel. But also, it'll give you real-time, personalised information before you travel, but also while you're travelling. And what it will mean is that we will start to bring together the big cities of the north to get that agglomeration effect so that we can compete not only on a national level, but also on an international level. So there's not all about 30 years' time. Some stuff is happening now. So I have the pleasure of using the Bolton line. So I've had 12 months of hell. It's still not much better. But you know what's really interesting? The trains are even more full than they were beforehand. So imagine what we could do if we actually gave people a decent service that turned up on time, wasn't short-formed, wasn't late. So what we're seeing over the next 2 years is a rollout of electric trains. Some of them are new, some of them are refurbished stock. We're quite happy to take the refurbished stock, I can tell you. I actually live nostalgia every day, so I can actually use a train today that I used as a kid. So that's not ideal. The other thing is, by moving away from the trains, or the poor trains, is that actually if you're an investor coming to the north and you've landed at Manchester Airport, and then you get on a Pacer train, it doesn't really instill confidence that this is a place you want to do business. So the new electric trains will transform the way we do it. We'll have things like Wi-Fi so that you can actually do business while you're travelling. So you're starting to see new customer information, and it's about bringing us up to the 21st century. HS2 is going to come to the north. The Secretary of State has said it at conferences. I've quoted him on it. He can't get away from it. The Minister said he's doing it. But what's really important is that we need both High Speed 2 and Northern Powerhouse Rail. It's not an either-or, just as the country also needs Crossrail 2. It will improve capacity and speed. It will mean that an hour's commute means that you can live in Liverpool and work in Leeds. All of a sudden, you are now opening up to employers a bigger pool of talent, and to that pool of talent, a bigger pool of employment. So you don't have to move from the north and the quality of life to get a job. The other thing that you'll see from this map is actually Northern Powerhouse Rail is fully integrated with the proposed HS2 infrastructure. So the money is well spent because we'll be making use of that and it will be integrated. It also frees up significant capacity on the West Coast Main Line so that we can actually get more freight, more stopping services. So actually, the problem that we've got is HS2 sold us the what. What the Strategic Transport Plan does is tell you the why. Perhaps HS2 had started with the why, there might not be as much problems as they are with the public relations problem they're having at the moment. Major road network, we agreed with 56 local highway authorities a major road network for the north in under 9 months. Probably the proudest moment of my career anyway. And then we agreed that in September, and then the department came out the following December with the consultation on a national one. And we've now got an agreed one. We've actually got conditional outputs for it on journey time reliability, network efficiency, resilience and journey quality. But the reason we need a major road network is that the strategic road network does not serve our important economic centres. It doesn't serve the ports, it doesn't serve the airport, it doesn't serve new big logistics centres and other massive employment sites. So it's really important that we get it right. We're working closely at the moment with the department on getting our major road network schemes in and our local large majors that we're doing it. And we will work on behalf of those 20 local transport authorities to coordinate those bids, sift those bids, and then submit them to the government so we can say these are the North's priorities for investment over the next 5 years, making most use of that £3.5 billion. The other thing we want to do is have a greater conversation not only on RIS2, but RIS3 on what the priorities are for Highways England, because we've got the evidence base now from our strategic development corridors. We've got our regional evidence base already done. So these are the kind of added value that a subnational transport body can do in terms of having that compelling argument for investment. The most important thing is, at the top, where the why is, we started with an economic plan. The Independent Economic Review said the reason why the North is not as productive as the rest of the country is due to poor connectivity. And if you then follow that through the evidence base that we did with the strategic development corridors, the work streams that you can see, which was the what and the how, and then we come on to this, because that's the bit that always says puts people off, funding. And this goes back to why it's a problem having transport in your name, because everyone thinks you need to go to the Department for Transport for funding. But our plan has got the answers to BEIS's problems and BEIS's funding and MHCLG's funding problems and the industrial strategy. So we have got the answers, because transport is an enabler to economic growth, to productivity, to improve skills and bases. And it's really, really important. There's analysis and appraisals, because, for example, we've just opened Second Mersey Crossing, dual the A556, and opened Alsall Court. But no one can tell me what difference it's made, even though we spent £750 million. They can tell me how many cars run along it or how many trains. So we need to get better, that we win hearts and minds in the infrastructure that we do and the way we transform people's lives going forward. And most importantly, for the 70 billion, we will give the country back another 100 billion. We will create 850,000 jobs that wouldn't have otherwise been created. So the prize is worth getting, which is why we've managed to get 20 politicians, including brand new metro mayors of all different colours, and business leaders to agree to an investment programme. And I think that is the power of subnational transport bodies, and that's the power of a transport plan being more than a transport plan. But we also need to be aware that the world is changing. So if I'd written this 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known about the smartphone. I wouldn't have known the impact that the smartphone could have, and Uber and various other things like that. So we are engaging with academia, we are engaging with innovators to say, how is the world changing, so that we can start to future-proof. But it's a two-way conversation. We need to say to them, these are our plans, so how will that improve what you're coming up with? But most importantly, they can come back and say, this is how you need to change your plans. But also you can see that we are going to look at electric vehicles, and we are going to look at automated vehicles. But we're going to change the way people do business. The other thing that we've done is built in freight, because freight is often the poor relative when it comes to transport, but freight is crucial the way we do business. Gives you a breakdown. £70 billion is a lot of money. We'll be spending £2 billion a year, so we need to gear up to do that. We need the supply chain ready. We need certainty of funding. We have produced a list of plans. We have produced a list of interventions, and we've broken them down into 4 areas. The schemes that have already been announced and we know are in the coming. There are a list of 22 interventions, road and rail, that we know are in industry processes but have yet to be announced. We've got another 37 road and rail interventions that the North has come up with that we feel should be started before 2027 when HS2 hits crew. And then we've got 20 outcomes that can be done beyond 2027 so that we get the outcomes that we want and the growth that we want by 2050. So I hope this is a quick run through what we want in the North. What do I want from you? I want your advocacy. I want you every single time you see a key decision maker to say, you need to invest in the North. Because my chief exec says the country is like an aeroplane running on one engine, which is the southeast. So if we can get the rest of the North and the rest of the country, we'll have an airplane running on 4 engines. Imagine how much more resilient that will be. So please, there's going to be an awful lot of work coming to the North. There's going to be an awful lot of investment. We want you to be part of it. We want to be your advocates. But most importantly, let's make a difference. Thank you.